this next one is of parrots singing. We had 2 parrots. This is actually from a zoo that I worked at. 2 Amazons. They loved singing Old MacDonald Had a Farm, and they loved singing opera. And here's them doing both.
Oh.
Hilarious. Old MacDonald had a farm.
Hello. Welcome in.
Welcome to World's Wildest.
World's Yappiest.
Welcome to World's Yappiest. This is a good episode. Any yappers out there?
A lot of yappers.
Any certified yappers? This was a suggestion. Do we have whose suggestion it was? This was a suggestion. We've been doing your guys' suggestions. I'm very excited. This suggestion is from A Rose is Drawing on YouTube. Thank you very much.
Good suggestion. It's cool.
This research has been really fun. I am more excited about the stuff I'm talking about today than I can remember ever being.
Really?
Maybe.
About anything?
For World's Wildest.
Oh, World's Wildest.
I have talked to 3 people in the past hour and a half about just this.
See, I was like that with like the deep sea stuff.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those days.
Okay.
It's going to be really good.
Well, yap away. I spent a lot of time, too much time on stuff I'm not even going to mention here about my first one. But
yeah, I had to delete some stuff as well.
I am very invested in this. So
okay.
I'm interested. What's your first one?
Reminder.
Oh.
We're on Patreon.
Yes.
If you want
Ad-free.
extra stuff, and if you want ad-free episodes, you can go to Patreon. And bonus content, you can go to Patreon. And bookmarks, you can go to Patreon. And other things. Check us out over there. Okay. My first World's Yappiest, seems weird, is trees.
Trees. I've never heard one talk. Maybe in Lord of the Rings.
Trees? Are you familiar with tree communication with one another?
Like through the roots, they put off chemicals.
Okay.
That's all I know. And like stress
Yes.
chemicals. That's it.
Great. Yes. Yeah. So,
We have a cat
speaking
present.
of World's Yappiest.
Claire. That's good. That's like spot on.
That was not a cat. That was me, audio listeners. What'd you think? Okay. World's Yappiest, trees. There are over 70,000 species of trees. Okay.
It's a lot of trees.
Number one. It's a lot.
Okay.
They're on every continent except for Antarctica. They've been around over 400 million years. They've survived all 4 extinction events that they've been a part of.
Love that.
They said no.
They're resilient.
They said no. They can live thousands of years. Guess how old the oldest tree on Earth is?
300 years.
No.
Is it 1,000?
You're going to lose your mind.
Is it over 1,000?
Yes.
I have no concept of time then.
The oldest tree on Earth is in Eastern California. It's a Great Basin bristlecone pine. Here it is, audio listeners. It kind of looks like a giant bonsai tree.
Yeah.
It's 4,855 years old.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's so old.
Yeah, 4,855 years old. Now, that's just a little tree background for you. Let's talk about why they're yappers, why they're the world's yappiest. They all talk to each other via the wood wide web,
Oh my God.
if you will.
Please. That was, no. That was
Look,
so bad.
I didn't make that up, okay? It's in a lot of papers I read today.
Wood Wide Web?
But the wood wide web.
That's so corny.
That's how they talk to each other.
Okay.
90% of all terrestrial plants are connected to a mycorrhizal network. Okay.
Is that fungus?
Yes. So mushrooms above ground, right? The mushrooms
Okay.
we see above ground, those are just reproductive organs or fruits of
okay.
mushrooms.
Didn't know that.
Everything beneath them, the root systems, mycorrhizal networks.
Okay.
Underground fungus made of mycelium. Mycelium is tiny threads that make up this network, and they wrap around tree roots and stuff. Okay.
Okay.
There's mutualism here with trees and this mycorrhizal network. So trees will provide sugar to the fungus,
Okay.
and then the fungus provide the trees with a medium for communication.
That's cool.
So
Okay.
cool. 1 teaspoon of forest soil can contain several miles of fungal filaments.
Teaspoon.
1 teaspoon can contain miles.
That doesn't.
Very small.
What?
Very dense. Very dense.
Oh,
this is a
okay,
picture of
okay.
just a sapling, like the little babyest sapling.
Yeah.
And it's got this fungal network. It is, audio listeners, it's just a little tiny tree sapling, and then like at least 10 times the size of fungal network below it in roots. Crazy. Crazy.
I mean, you're probably going to get to this, but my burning question is, what are they communicating?
Oh my
Chemicals?
God. You think I'm gonna get to this.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to jump your train here.
Your
path.
I've been freaking out. Producer was there when I was doing this research today. Was I or was I not furiously typing on those keys?
She was.
I was watching videos in 2x speed, and I was typing in 2x speed, and I was slamming the keys because I was like, no way.
How much caffeine did you have?
None. I haven't had any caffeine today.
That's crazy.
Yes, I'm just amped right now.
Because the last 2 episodes, I was super caffeinated, and now you seem super caffeinated.
I'm amped on tree calms, okay?
Okay.
So, there was a study in a field research setting, okay? Suzanne Simard planted 80 plots of paper birch and Douglas fir trees and cedar trees.
A lot.
Okay? Yeah,
she
planted a bunch of trees.
Okay.
Right. She covered the birch. Ignore the cedar for now. It's not really important.
Okay. Screw them.
She covered the birch and the fir and injected the birch with carbon-13 and the fir with carbon-14. They're different.
Trace them.
Yes, they're different isotopes, so she can figure out if they have two-way communication or not, if they're passing carbon to each other, but they're also freaking covered. So the only way they could pass it to each other is through the root system.
Oh, okay.
Through the mycorrhizal network. She waited 1 hour. She almost got eaten by a grizzly bear. Not okay. It doesn't have to do with this.
Glad she didn't die.
She's fine. Then she went back and she found that the trees had done some photosynthesizing. They'd turned some of that CO2 into sugars, and then they were shuttling excess carbon underground to one another. This is crazy. So through that network. Okay. Underground. Carbon. They're like, here's some carbon. Oh, here's some of this carbon.
Okay.
Different carbon. Here's some carbon. You want this one? I would take that one.
Okay.
Okay. That's what they're doing.
Transferring
with each other. Also insane because they're different species of trees.
Yeah.
And then they found out later that in the summer, birch will send more carbon to fir.
Oh,
because
so nice.
Birch has leaves in the spring and summer.
Yeah.
And then it's shading the fir. So the fir isn't doing as much photosynthesis, not producing enough sugar. So the birch is like, here's this extra carbon. Sorry about that. And then in the fall and winter, when the birch loses all of its leaves, so it can't photosynthesize as much and can't produce as much sugar, the fir is like, here's some more carbon. I get it. It's okay. Here you go.
Oh my God. They're best friends?
Yes, they're best friends, and they do this seasonally. And they're different species.
That's so cool. Okay.
Okay.
I love the wholesomeness.
This is kind of confusing though, because there's cooperation and there's competition, right? So it's like you would think that they would be competing for resources. But forests do better when they're more dense, because more dense forest means less erosion, less wind problems, less soil drying out because of sunlight.
Right.
So if neighboring trees die, like that's not good for them.
Right.
It's starting to get more crazy, okay?
Okay.
It's getting more crazy.
Are they passing more than just carbon?
Yes. Also nitrogen, phosphorus, other nutrients, and chemical signals.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Cool.
Simard also thinks that trees of the same species have kin recognition within their networks, and they can allocate more resources to the trees that they're related to. They've done this in a lab setting, put a mother tree and related saplings, and then non-related saplings, and the mother tree will pass more carbon to the related saplings, which
That's so cool.
Also, when the mothers are dying, they'll pass them more carbon and defense signals, which increases their resistance to future stresses, increases the kin's resistance to future stresses.
So, like, here's why I'm dying. Don't die of this.
Like passing down information.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. But also, this totally makes sense, because how the frick is a little sapling in a forest going to survive? How is it going to compete with 100-foot tall trees?
That's true.
It can't, and it's not competing. It's being fed.
Wow.
By its mom.
I feel so bad for all the trees I've cut down in my life now. It was probably screaming.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mother trees can be connected to hundreds of other trees.
No.
This is, we'll pull up a picture of a graph or an image from Simard's study here. So this is going to be really hard to explain to audio listeners, but the dark green circles are the oldest trees.
Okay.
So you can see they're like attached to way more of those trees, and the light green trees are the smallest, youngest, and they have just like a few attachments to some larger trees.
Yeah.
So the older they get, the more trees they can talk to and be attached to.
Interesting.
So this gives us a ton of information about managing forests too.
Right.
And like clear cutting and selective cutting.
That's, yeah.
Super interesting.
That's
Crazier.
so detailed.
Gets crazier. And then I will be done, I swear.
I don't know if I want to know how crazy it gets more crazy because I already feel really bad. And now this makes planting trees for carbon sequestering and then cutting down forests really, really way sadder now.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
They can also communicate through the air.
But I guess I'm not terribly surprised, but also that's kind of crazy.
In sub-Saharan Africa, there's a wide-crowned umbrella thorn acacia tree, and giraffes eat them. Okay. And when giraffes are eating the leaves, they'll put off ethylene, which is a gas, and it's a distress signal. And then the nearby trees will start pumping tannins into their leaves.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so giraffes can't eat them because giraffes will get really sick and potentially die if they eat too many tannins. So giraffes will only graze into the wind. They'll only browse into the wind. And if there's no wind, they will only go from they'll go from trees that are 100 feet apart so that the trees don't know that they're coming.
That is insane.
Yeah. Crazier?
How?
Elms and pines will put off pheromones that attract parasitic wasps when there are leaf-eating caterpillars on the tree.
They're calling for help.
They're calling for help.
That's ridiculous. How do they selectively get to that point?
I don't know. Leaf-eating caterpillars will be on the tree. They'll put off a pheromone, attract parasitic wasps. Parasitic wasps will come. They'll lay eggs in the caterpillar. Their larvae will eat the caterpillar from the inside out and then stop harming the tree. It's a little aggro, to be honest. It's like maybe a little too much.
You've been using that word a lot lately.
Yeah. But that's what some elm and pine species do. And then, this is the craziest one to me, because it implies some crazy things, but there was a study recently from the German Center for Integrative Biodiversity, and it's suggesting that trees know the taste, I'm air quoting, of deer saliva.
Huh?
They found out that these trees, when the branches were being chewed on by deer, the trees were putting off defending chemicals to make the leaves taste bad so that the deer wouldn't eat the leaves, and then also putting off healing chemicals to like repair the branches that the deer are chewing on. But then when human researchers broke the branch or damaged the branches, they only put off healing chemicals and nothing into the leaves.
Okay. Help?
So they can distinguish between whether it's a human or a deer doing damage to the branch and respond accordingly.
Oh.
When it's a deer, they're pumping these nasty tasting things into the leaves.
Because it tastes the saliva, or it registers the saliva of the deer versus like a break from a human or like just nature. Yes. They're not going to waste the energy because they know it's not a deer. Yeah. So do trees have brains?
No. Not that we know of.
That is
no central nervous system that we know of, no brain that they know of. However, this has sent me into a freaking spiral because trees respond to damage by getting some sort of signal and then sending healing things to that area to repair it. We've seen when you cut off branches of trees how trees heal.
Yeah.
To us, that is what pain is something bad happens and we get a signal and then our body sends stuff to heal that area.
Yeah.
Do I think trees feel pain? I don't freaking know, but I don't think it would hurt to go hug one.
There we go. I wonder, I've built a few eagle's nests like 60, 80 feet up in trees. I wonder if they know that I'm building an eagle's nest and they help reinforce those branches that we drill into. Now I feel really bad for drilling into those branches.
Yeah, maybe they're sending signals like, guys, some crazy stuff is happening right now.
There's about to be a Volkswagen Beetle-sized nest that weighs a ton on all of our branches. Let's reinforce it. Yeah. And then they take care of the eagles.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. That is insane.
Insane. And it's insane that it's across species and that 90% of terrestrial plants have some sort of mycorrhizal network. So at what point are they going to be like, you know what, we do feel pain. You know what, frick all these people. And then rise.
I want, like, how far does the network connect? Like, if you had
one tree can be connected to hundreds of trees.
But like, if you could one tree talk to another tree if it was all connected 100 miles away?
I don't know what the mileage is, but
in theory, probably.
It's probably pretty far.
Yeah.
Because if it can talk to hundreds of trees,
right? I
assume that the network is going into a tree and then into another tree.
Right. Yeah. That is insane. And now I feel really bad. But please tell me that cedar is like exempt from this and they don't
No.
have feelings. And I can keep cutting them down at Alveus.
The only reason I said to ignore cedar in that experiment is because it supports a different type of fungus. So it's not communicating with those specific tree species. But it will communicate with other cedar the same way. They know their families.
Now I'm going to feel bad cutting down cedar.
They give additional resources to their families. All the little saplings that we go and cut,
I'm killing
that's
babies.
their family.
Yeah.
And they've
my
been
God.
feeding them.
I love and hate this podcast.
They'll
all
even
at the same
reduce their root systems to make elbow room for their own kids.
That's so nice.
I know.
I feel bad now. Why do? And I'm going to go into a spiral.
No, yeah.
On an ethical spiral.
Everybody, me, Connor, and all of you guys that just listen to this, we're all screwed.
Yeah. And I
we're all
want to hear
spiral.
more research on this.
So interesting.
I
World's treeiest.
hated like all that tree stuff in biology 101 in college.
Oh, they're so cool.
The xylem, the phloem, but you kind of got me interested now.
Thank you.
So, stop doing that. Now I like bugs.
Tana.
Oh,
Quiz time.
quiz time.
Okay, speaking of trees, what do you call animals that spend most of the time in trees?
Damn it.
Arboreal?
That is correct.
I got one. Well, speaking of arboreal, elephants.
All right.
They're not arboreal.
World's yappiest elephants?
Elephants are super, super yappy. They have complex communications all the time that we're learning so much about because of AI and machine learning. Elephants are freaking amazing, and I went down a whole rabbit hole about elephants, Ivory, International Vulture Awareness Day that I'm not going to bring up now.
Okay.
But elephants, they're probably going to pop up on this podcast quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because they're the world's largest land mammal. They have the longest gestation period of any mammal.
I didn't know that.
22 months.
Dang, dude. That sucks.
Yep. Very, very bad. So there are three main species of elephants. We've got the African savanna elephant, also known as the bush elephant. That one is endangered. Surprise. African forest elephant, critically endangered. And then Asian elephants, which are endangered, and there's some subspecies.
Sheesh.
Maybe they're not subspecies, maybe they're species on their own. I didn't look into that, but I think they're subspecies, pretty sure. So, Maya, why are elephants endangered?
Poaching?
Yep.
Ivory? Trade?
Ivory and traditional medicine for their... mostly it's their ivory, though. And you know why vultures are dying in the hundreds of thousands because of elephants?
Because vultures eat carcasses and people will poison the carcass of the elephant that they kill, and then hundreds of vultures will land on that carcass and they'll all get poisoned at the same time and die.
And they poison those carcasses because vultures start circling almost immediately after a poacher shoots the elephant, and so it signals
It
to the
gives
rangers.
away their location.
Yeah, so that sucks. International Vulture Awareness Day, Saturday the 7th, 8th. I don't even know what today is.
Saturday the 7th.
7th. Cool. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, elephants have the longest gestation period of any mammal, 22 months. So that makes it really hard for their populations to bounce back. Largest land mammals. The largest...
We're looking at a baby elephant, audio listeners.
So freaking cute. The largest is the African savanna elephant. And that's what I'm really going to talk about.
Can I guess how much they weigh?
Yes. Male or female? Which one do you guess?
Male.
Okay, go.
4,500 pounds.
Female is way bigger.
7,000 pounds.
Female, 6,600 pounds, or 3,000 kilograms, or 66 mayas.
Okay.
So male.
Stupid.
It is not. It is
No,
a unit
it's
of
fine.
measurement for this podcast.
Okay.
What is the male? What do you think?
What, the female 6,600 pounds?
Yeah.
So the male is 7,500 pounds?
13,000
1,000?
pounds, or 5,896 kilograms, or 130 mayas.
Oh my gosh.
Audio listeners, we're looking at a graph.
That's
They're-
crazy.
They're very big. Males are like double the size. Very, very big. So they can live up to 70 years. Their ears can grow up to 2 meters, or like 6 feet 7 inches, and they can be like as wide as 1.5 meters or 4 feet 11 inches. So that's like you could fit a few Mayas in that kind of surface area there on each of those ears. So they help regulate body heat, and they create cool breezes with the flaps of their ears. And they do help hearing, but later, when we talk more about their communication, it's not just their ears that help them listen. So they live in 37 countries across Africa. They eat leaves, bark, grass, foliage, roots, and fruits.
Cute.
The African bush elephant requires 300 to 350 pounds of vegetation per day.
It's way too much. Like, way too much.
It has to be so expensive for zoos to keep elephants. I will say at Alveus, I'd never want an elephant. I don't. That's too much food.
Endless. That's crazy.
And then we would definitely need a bobcat to move all that poop. In Central African regions, as much as 30% of the tree species depend on the elephants for germination and dispersal of seeds through excretion. For this reason, elephants are known as keystone species, and they are a critical part in their ecosystem. So, I wonder if trees talk to elephants to get them to come over.
Dude, I freaking bet they do.
Probably.
And I bet elephants talk to trees.
Yeah.
Giraffes kind of talk to trees.
In a way, yeah. So their main predators are humans, lions, hyenas, crocodiles. Lions aren't really going after, those large elephants, but going after the babies. So here's where it gets interesting. So elephants have a complex language that we're learning more and more about. AI and machine learning in the past 3 years has really expanded our knowledge because they're starting to, that we've had thousands of recordings of their calls, but now we can actually start to talk or put it in this machine learning models and figure out what means what. And they're starting to learn what it is and then play it back to them to communicate to them. Oh. So this is helpful for elephant-human conflict negotiations, basically. It is a negotiation. So they can actually, in Africa, there's a huge problem with elephants coming in, destroying crops, they'll destroy houses too, to get food. They'll run people over. Like, it is a big problem. So
they're negotiating with them.
They put out speakers when they have radio collars on them. And when they come in, they start talking to them, say, hey.
Elephant?
Yep. In elephant. It's working not as well as we'd like it to because we're still learning. But they're starting to get them to go away. The other thing that they started doing on these radio collars, they learned that there's a specific, depending on the region and the pack of elephants or the herd of elephants.
They have dialects?
They do have dialects. They do. But they found that different herds are afraid of different types, species of bees. And what they do is when a herd of elephants gets close to humans in a radius that they put on their collar, when they hit that radius, it starts playing the bee sound of that specific type of bee in that area, and they run the other way because they're so afraid of those bees. But then they took those same bees calls and put it on a different herd.
And they didn't care.
So that has been a big thing for negotiating the human-elephant conflicts. So technology is awesome for that kind of thing. So there's over 30 vocalizations that we know of, and they can have complex discussions, sometimes lasting up to an hour, with other herds up to 6 miles away or 10 kilometers away. Some sources say 20 miles or 32 kilometers. Not sure on that. Sources vary. So how they do this is they use the infrasound spectrum, which is a lot lower frequency, and they're able to vibrate it into the ground, basically. So low frequencies travel much further than high frequencies. That's, for example, 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi travels much further than 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi because it's a lower frequency. So that's what you want in your house if you have lots of stone and stuff like that, or you want it to go far. So they will talk to these other herds to talk to them about dangers in the area. Stay away from my territory. There's water here. There's food here. They'll have complex talks with them.
They're yapping.
They're yapping all the time. The babies are yapping to the moms.
The
And
babies look like yappers. I'll say it.
they're yapping all the time for milk.
Yeah.
Because it's a matriarchal society, there's other younger and older females that help take care of the young. And so they're talking back and forth. And this complex communication system is what keeps the herd together and get them to communicate, and why they've been so successful and lasted as long as they have. Now they just need to learn when they see humans to run the other way.
Wow.
Here's where it gets even crazier. So they have very specialized feet. Producer, yeah. So we have a picture of the elephant feet, and for audio listeners, it looks like they're always on their tippy toes, and they are.
Well,
So-
the skeleton looks that way.
Yeah, the skeleton does. So inside their foot, there's a lot of fat
Tippies.
and a lot of fat in there, and some muscle and some ligaments. But the only thing that's contacting the ground is the tips of their feet bones. And they are walking on their tippy toes. This really helps with them navigate through Africa and through the muds and everything else like that. And because there's so much fat there, it helps reduce like the vibrations on their joints while they walk. But also, it's kind of like a drum. It can feel those vibrations of that infrasound, and they're able, and even in their trunks, and they're able to receive that communication through their feet. So a lot of times you'll see articles that be like, elephants hear through their feet. And it is true, because they're feeling that vibration and deciphering what it is. And elephants will use a very we're starting to learn that they use a very complex language of both infrasound and sound that we can hear at the same time. So they're having more complex, this is where like the dialects come in, more complex communications, and they have individual names for each of the individual animals, and they were able to identify that as well.
That's cool.
So I think in the next 10 years, we'll be able to actually talk to elephants
With
in
elephant sounds, yeah.
a significantly meaningful way.
That's so cool.
I love that.
Wow. Okay. Yappers.
Big yappers.
Yappers. My first one, I just like was obsessed with how cool it is, the idea of the comms.
Yep.
But like truly, if someone asked me on the street, like, what do you think is the yappiest animal? I would say parrots.
Yep. 100%.
Right. So my next one is parrots. Parrots is an order. So there are over 350 species under the umbrella of parrots. That's parakeets, lovebirds, macaws, African greys, etc.
You don't want one as a pet. I'm just saying.
I'll talk about that at the end. But there's huge diversity in parrots. They're found all over the world. The Guinness World Record for max amount of words is from a budgie named Puck in 1994. Guess how many?
Budgie.
A budgie. Guess how many words he knew?
200.
1,728 words.
1,728.
28 words.
That is, I don't even know if I know that many words.
I see. That's what I said today. I was like, I don't think I could think of that many words.
That's insane.
It is insane. As you guys all know, parrots can talk. They can sing. They can swear. They can learn to speak in different languages. They can mimic noises. I did a parrot internship, or I did an internship at a parrot sanctuary a few years ago, where I was a zookeeper for parrots, essentially. And it was a lot. That summer was a lot. I got bit a lot. Sent Connor lots of pictures of me getting bit by parrots.
Good time.
Had to wear earplugs because I would have lost hearing. Like my hearing would be damaged today if I didn't wear earplugs that whole summer. And I had a lot of cool experiences with birds talking, and I brought some videos.
Ooh. Is one of those Sydney?
No.
Oh.
The first video is of a parrot mimicking a sound. They think that this parrot is pretty old. This is an Amazon, like a yellow-fronted Amazon, I think.
Okay.
And
is this from the sanctuary?
Yes.
Wow.
So these are my videos from my internship. They think he was old because this is this telephone sound that he would mimic. Check this out.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is so cool.
Play it one more time. Audio listeners.
I haven't heard a telephone sound like that unless it was like 1950s. That's like a 70s phone.
Yeah. So these birds can live like 60 years.
Right.
So could be.
That's insane.
It is insane. I have a few other videos of parrots. This next one is of parrots singing. We had 2 parrots. This is actually from a zoo that I worked at. 2 Amazons. They loved singing Old MacDonald Had a Farm, and they loved singing opera. And here's them doing both.
Oh.
Hilarious. Old MacDonald had a farm.
I love that.
He loved both of those things. We have Toby. Oh, I'm sorry. The famous little green gremlin, Siren from Alvea's Sanctuary. This is just a, she loves Happy Birthday.
Mia in the back.
That's Siren singing Happy Birthday. If you don't think it sounded like Happy Birthday, apologize. And then the last video, everybody's seen this video because I've shown it on stream a million times. It's my favorite video that I have. Parrots are so good at mimicking speech and mimicking people. And this particular bird bit a lot of people.
Oh.
And so he got in the habit of mimicking people after they bit him, because a lot of times they like mimicking things that you say really enthusiastically and like aggressively. So after you'd get bit, you'd be like, ow, or whatever.
Right.
So this was Toby's favorite thing to do, is he would bite and then he would say this. Ow! Ow, 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 ow. What did you do that for?
What did you do that for?
Because it hurt. I don't like that. It hurt. It hurt. He was bad.
Evil. That's
Isn't
evil.
that crazy?
That's crazy.
So he had to bite people enough times to hear all of those things and learn how to mimic all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Why can they do all of this? Why can because no other animals do this. It's just parrots.
I've never thought of the why.
Can talk like people. So parrots have a special voice box. It's called a syrinx. In humans, the way that our vocal structure is shaped is there's lungs. So think of it like an upside down slingshot. Okay. There's lungs that go into the U of the slingshot. Then there's trachea, and then there's voice box on top of it. Right? For parrots, there's lungs, voice box, and then trachea.
Oh.
So for humans, we send air up into our larynx, our voice box, and there are special folds in there, and then we shape most of the sounds that come out of our mouths with our lips, like with our mouths. Parrots are able to control muscles in their syrinx, in their voice box. So they control the walls of their voice box, and they shape sounds in there because they obviously don't have lips to shape sounds as it comes out in their mouth. They do move their beak a little bit, and some parrots will move their tongue forward and backwards to further shape sounds. But it's because they have a special voice box. Some people ask why. Parrots are really social, and they're very smart, and they're physically capable of mimicking noises. So if they live with humans and we're their flock, if you will, they'll just find ways to communicate with us. And they see us communicating with each other. That's why every talking parrot that you've ever met says hello. A lot of talking parrots will also say pretty bird or good bird, because they hear those things all the time. They just pick up on what they hear most from us.
Do you think the pet trade has selected for more talkative birds?
I think so. All the videos that I played, audio listeners, you didn't see, but they were all Amazon parrots. Amazon parrots are super talkative, really good at talking, and they're some of the most common in the pet trade. I don't think it's a coincidence at all that people want birds that can talk.
Right.
Because people think it's funny.
Yep.
How much do parrots understand? People ask me this question all the time. They're like, do they know what they're saying?
I think so.
I think they understand a lot of what they're saying.
Contextually, I think they get it.
I've told this story before when I was working at the parrot sanctuary. We brought the birds out every morning, and they would sleep inside at night. And I went to go bring an Amazon, of course, outside. And I said, you want to go outside? And he said, no. And I was like, why not? Because you're just like, it's talking to you, so you talk back. And he said, it's cold out there.
Oh my God.
Yes. And I was like,
You didn't put him out then, did you?
No.
Nice.
I was in shock for like the full day.
Okay. Yeah.
I was just like, there is no way that he has heard that sequence of things enough times to just be mimicking.
Right.
He knew that I was asking if he wanted to go outside, and that's fair because he does that every morning. So there's like routine there.
Sure.
But
then to do the cold outside.
But the cold, that's a lot to understand.
Yep.
But it was perfect contextually. Like he said, it's cold out there.
Right. And I think maybe they get lucky with their word choices from time to time.
Yeah.
But I did visit in Lindsay at Alveus. One of the staff members worked at Zoo Knoxville, which is Einstein, the famous African gray, like America's Got Talent. She worked with Einstein, and I met Einstein a few times. 100% knew like how to have a contextual conversation about things that he did it so routinely that he could have, a paragraph. You could have a paragraph conversation with him that was perfectly contextual every single day, as long as he was motivated enough to talk. He would get fat and like, I don't care to talk, but I truly think they can do that.
I think they understand a lot. All that being very, very cool. All that being said, like you said earlier, they do not make good pets.
Yeah.
And lots of parrots are traded in the pet trade. They're captured out of the wild, poached to be circulated in the international pet trade. It's not a good idea. They are very funny and they do talk, but they do live 50 to 80 years, which is an insanely long time. They can scream up to 130 decibels.
Ugh.
Police sirens are around 120 decibels for reference. A jet engine is around 130 decibels. It definitely causes hearing loss. It can cause pain. It has caused me both.
Yep.
We have a clip of our macaws from Alveus Sanctuary screaming, just so you guys have a reference for what it sounds like. This could be in your home if you wanted one as a pet.
Scream
Not
o'clock.
the cutest, like, hello, birdie. Like,
Right.
cute birdie. Like, they don't always sound like that. They can bite super hard. They have a bite force of 500 to 700 PSI, they think, which is like a large dog. They can take your fingers off. They can break your fingers. There was a blue and gold macaw in Palm Beach Resort in Florida in 2010. Took a 1-year-old's finger off and ate it.
Oh!
The kid stuck his finger in the cage. He took the finger off and he ate the finger. So not safe around any children. Not safe around you either. It could have been an adult. He would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
And people still want them as pets for some reason.
If you know what you're going into ahead of time and you're just diehard want a parrot, go rescue them because there's rescues
Tons of parrots
overflowing.
Rescue. People think they want parrots because they're cute and they talk, and then they go get one and they're like, oh my God, it's like a 2-year-old that will bite and eat my fingers off and damage my hearing and chew through all the wood in my house and live for 80 years. This is terrible.
Yep.
So would not recommend.
Yeah.
That's my yappiest. Stand by that one.
That is the yappiest.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would say I've got one of the, I think the most mischievous, yappiest insect. One of them.
Okay.
One of them. All right. I'm starting to become a bigger insect fan, which is crazy, Maya. You've done this to me. And I object.
Bug PR.
So
I'm the Bugs PR team.
you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Large blue butterfly caterpillar. There's a Latin name that nobody else is going to remember, and I can hardly say it. So we're going to stick with large blue butterfly.
Large blue butterfly.
Easy.
Okay.
So they are near threatened species of butterfly. They're very pretty.
So nice.
Describe what they look like to the
It's a
audio
blue
listeners.
butterfly. It's got some black spots. It looks fuzzy, and it has a white outline. It's really pretty.
How big do you think it is, based on that picture?
Is it on a blade of grass?
Yes.
Like small?
Yep.
Why is it called a large blue butterfly? It looks like the size of like a nickel.
I mean, it's half an inch.
Okay, that's
Big.
dumb.
That's pretty. Yeah.
That's not large at all.
It's not. Or 51 millimeters. So pretty small. They live in Asia and Europe, all around there, but they're really concentrated in France and China. And they like to eat like wild thyme and stuff like that.
Okay.
There's like a few host plants they really love. And that's kind of all the history I really know about them.
Okay.
So here's the crazy thing about them. They're so good at communicating that they will trick ants into taking care of their larva.
Okay.
So the larva looks and smells and talks like a working ant larva at first. So what it does is butterfly finds like an ant nest near and finds wild thyme near that ant nest, goes and lays their eggs. At a certain stage when the larva is big enough and eaten a bunch of the time, it drops down and starts secreting pheromones. And then the pheromones that act or like they smell like worker ant larva. So then the ants come over, grab that larva,
Ugh,
take it back to its nest
stupid ants.
because it thinks it's
Right.
a larva they got out. So like, all right, we're gonna take care of this. So once it gets into the nest, it starts a really cool strategy called the cuckoo strategy, or this is one of two.
Okay.
So it starts making sounds that mimic the queen ant.
What do those sound like? Me, me, me. Like what? Like what do they do?
It's like vibrations.
Okay.
Mostly. So then the worker ants stop everything they're doing and start bringing it food,
Right.
whatever it needs.
You know
'cause
what?
It's its queen.
That's kind of messed up.
It is. They're yapping to the workers all the time. I
Yeah.
want this, this, and this. While it's in the nest, it gains 99% of their biomass.
That's messed up.
So they are just they're just stealing
And the
all
ants
that
are
food.
like, dang, like this is a really big queen ant. Oh, they're so dumb.
Sometimes the ants are smart enough to figure it out,
Okay.
especially when they already have a queen. So if they have a queen, it's 3 times or when they don't have a queen, they're 3 times more likely to survive. But if the queen is there, 3 times more likely to die
Okay.
because they get found out. So the other cool thing about the cuckoo strategy is, they become this high status member of the nest. The ants will kill their own larvae to feed the caterpillar. And during times of danger, they will rescue the caterpillar before they rescue anything else.
Wow.
So, audio listeners, we have a picture of an ant, which is the caterpillar is about the same size as an ant, and it is the ants taking care of the caterpillar, and will carry it off if they need to. We'll feed it, do everything, which is insane. So there's this other strategy that's just not as successful. They sometimes, when they get into the nest, they'll become predatory and start eating the ant larvae, but sometimes they'll get discovered because they grow really, really fast.
And then they get killed.
Yeah, but if within the first 10 days, after that 10-day period, they're like, oh, okay, it's fine. It's meant to be this large. So it's got a 10-day window that's got to be sneaky and still putting off these sounds. It it smells like the larva.
Wow.
And constantly yap and talk into it like, hey, I'm fine. I'm a larvae. Keep bringing me food. And if they use the cuckoo strategy, it is 6 times more effective than the predatory strategy. But the caterpillar or the butterflies know and target different species of ants in different regions.
Yeah.
And then the larvae will change its strategy depending on what type of ants are in the area. So they're constantly communicating with the ants to bring them
How
food.
on
So
earth
yappy.
did you find this species in your research for World's Yappiest? What did you look up to find this?
World's weirdest communications.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this just came up. And then I read a bunch of articles. I should have called Dr. Allison. She probably could have.
She probably knows a lot about these. She's
But
an entomologist.
there's a lot of research on this. Anyway, I think
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm glad
incredibly
there's so
cool.
much research. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
It's really hard to study. I mean, I know this from Dr. Allison. It's really hard to study subterranean insects.
I don't know why they're like really focused on this one, but they have a lot of IUCN has IUCN, which
IUCN
regulates-
has stuff on this?
yeah, they're regulated by IUCN.
What?
So, yeah, there's that much data.
What the heck?
So if you guys don't know what IUCN is, it's the governing body of endangered, threatened animal species to get status, and it takes a lot of data and a lot of research and a committee to vote in like this huge 1 to 2 year, 3 year process sometimes
Yeah, it's
to get
insane.
an animal listed.
International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN.
Super well respected.
Yeah.
I think we should become panel members, regional
think?
panel members.
You think
one
they'd
day.
let us in?
Yeah, you can. You can apply. Like they have this whole course. You
Us.
can.
World's Wildest.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
we can do it.
I would like to be on IUCN.
Yeah, I bet we could work our way up to the U.S. IUCN panel.
Okay.
And we could vote on stuff.
That'd
But it'd
go
be a lot of
crazy.
time. But
That'd go
we
crazy.
should do it. But I thought it was incredibly cool.
Yeah.
And I want to learn more about animal communication. So I think we should do like another one of these. But like
Yeah.
world's
World's.
talkative. I don't know.
We'll figure it
Weird
out.
dialects. I don't know.
There's so much with communication.
Yeah.
So interesting. We didn't even like touch on echolocation or anything
And we
like
should
that.
talk about ultraviolet because they're finding so much
Oh my
out
gosh.
how songbirds can communicate with their feathers, and
Yeah.
you can ID individuals of songbirds based on their ultraviolet patterns, and family members know that, like which one is theirs, and like they only discovered that like 2 years ago. It's so cool. We have so much to talk about.
We have so much to talk
like
about.
and subscribe if you want to hear more of this cool stuff.
Like and subscribe. I know you guys learned something today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And make sure to check us out on Patreon. Make sure to check out more of our episodes on YouTube. You can comment your suggestions for new episodes. We've been doing your guys' suggestions. I don't know how we'd come up with them with our own. So thank you. They've been really great. And thank you if you've been watching since the beginning. This has gone by so fast.
Yep, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've been having a ton of fun. This is our 18th episode, which is nuts. I feel like we just started. Like it feels like our 6th episode.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I hope you guys have been enjoying it. Thank you so much if you've been here the whole time. We really appreciate you guys.
It's been awesome.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.